Just a couple of weeks ago, we published an in-depth report on the conversational AI market in Europe called Conversational AI, a European Evolution. My awesome colleague, Jack Vernon, led this report research, and I'm delighted to be able to talk to him today to learn more about the key findings. So, Jack, thanks so much for joining me on this call today. Let's start by just setting out the stall, as it were. What is conversational AI, and what was the focus of the research that you led into this area?
So, conversational AI platform, which was the focus of my research, is essentially for developing virtual agents, chatbots, or voice bots, and systems that kind of fall into this category are Google's Dialogflow, Amazon Lex, Oracle Digital Assistant, Amelia, Microsoft, Boost AI, for instance, Rasa, and Tumblr. So it's quite there's quite a lot of platforms already playing in space. And the focus of my research was to investigate essentially the trends sort of underlying this market in Europe. And one of the things that we kind of discovered in the process of doing that is that really there's kind of an evolution going on in the market, and hence the title of the report, Conversational AI, a European Evolution. And really that evolution is happening around the use cases that people are building virtual agents and chatbots for. And that, what we're really seeing is an expansion beyond sort of customer service facing use cases into a load of other areas.
Right. And so I guess just for people who may not be so familiar with the area as you are, I mean, the kind of backstory, I guess, is that, most early deployments of conversational AI, of chatbots and so on, have been in marketing settings or e-commerce, customer support type use cases, right? And what we're seeing is that that's still growing and it's still really important, but we're also seeing more and more stuff happening, I guess, more around the internal operations of an organization.
We sort of found that there were 5 kind of areas of really quite meaningful activity, and you've identified already. So like finance, HR, business operations, IT, and actually sort of in R&D of products as well. So people are starting to embed virtual agents, whether that's in toys or cars or even aircraft. So a lot of areas where this technology is now being applied.
Okay. And we'll come back to that in a minute because I don't want to ruin the flow. But that's good to know. So from what you've learned, I mean, what are the priorities of customers for conversational AI, particularly in a European context?
Yeah, so kind of sort of separate to the use case expansion, as we've kind of been talking about already, we're also looking at priorities of European customers and what vendors are finding they're needing to serve their customers. And first of all, kind of top of the list, pretty obviously, is that European customers really expect vendors to provide technology that is sort of compliant at a legislative level, and also often they're looking for provisioning of compute on a local level. So they're expecting data centers to be located somewhere in Europe, or sometimes in the countries that they're operating these systems in. And there's sometimes expectations on the consumer side that they can sort of run these systems on premise as well. Another big sort of thing that's a big priority for European users is that they're really looking for a meaningful coverage of languages, particularly if they're operating in more than one country in Europe. And this can actually be quite challenging for the vendors because it's not just as straightforward as translating one language into another, and the conversational platform or what's going to work exactly the same. So yeah, that can be a big challenge as well. Another thing that's sort of vendors and end users reported is that increasingly they're to develop more of the conversational AI and virtual agents and systems internally themselves. They're kind of recognizing that there is an expansion of use cases underway. So it's often a priority for users to work with vendors which their technology is very sort of straightforward to get into, not too difficult to or too technical or requiring too many specialized expertise.
Gotcha. Right. So it kind of drive towards that kind of low code phenomenon that we just keep seeing popping up all over the place. So what impact is that kind of use case expansion? What impact is that having actually on the market?
I think there's a few kind of things underway in terms of that impact. And I think first of all is that there is an opportunity to sort of specialize within these different emerging use case areas. And I think for this is favoring sort of different vendors in different ways, and different sort of either tech innovations or vertically focused sort of strategies are playing out already in that respect. For instance, RASA, which provides sort of open source technology, also in a flexible deployment model, meaning that it's, you can deploy this on your own infrastructure. It's not tied to a cloud provider in any way. They're seeing success, particularly in like the embedded side of things, and a lot of companies are looking with them there because of that flexibility. So there's some tech innovation that's sort of helping some companies in terms of specialization, but also vendors are choosing to bring out sort of more vertically focused virtual assistant products. For instance, Microsoft has developed or just launched Azure Health, which is both addressing a range of use cases within the healthcare sector specifically. And AWS has also launched a wide range of templates for Lex, which connects Lex to some of AWS's adjacent services, and also an easy framework for implementing bots for, say, information capture. So I think there's kind of like two strategic things playing out on that level. Broadly, this is good news for the vendors in Europe. The addressable market is expanding as the number of applicable use cases that people are trying to address with this technology is growing. But I think there's also kind of a bit of a strategic dilemma for the vendors. Should we become more specialized in particular use case areas, and where should we be applying this specialization? Where are the best opportunities? And I think, that's still something that a lot of organizations are still trying to really work out.
Brilliant. Well, Jack, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about the research, and I know that this is a topic we're going to keep an eye on over the coming months and years. So thanks very much for your time, Jack.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed this, please like, share and subscribe, and I will see you again very soon. Take care, everyone.